See where everybody's at. Okay, so let's go up to File, and let's go to New. Or if you have the Create New button over on the left, you can click that also. Not everybody has that. That's going to pop up this new document, and you've got options up here just like you did in Illustrator and Photoshop. We are going to go with the web once it loads, and we're going to do a medium 800 by 600. We're just going to keep it low key right now. Yeah, web, medium. We're going to leave everything else the way that it is and go ahead and click Create. Web, medium, leave everything else. And Create. All right, so this white part that you are looking at right now with in your Animate screen, that is what we call our stage. That's where you're going to do all of your creating, your editing, your animating. Down at the bottom, you see what we call a timeline. The timeline has different layers just like we would in Photoshop or Illustrator. Right now, do you see there's only one layer, layer 1, correct? So we're going to rename this layer. So where it says layer 1, go ahead and double click it. And we're going to label it ground. Either or, doesn't matter. Ground, G-R-O-U-N-D. We're going to name layer 1 ground. It's right down here at the bottom. And I'm going to bring this up so you can see this a little better. Double click it, layer 1. You need to take your headphones off so you can hear me, Trouble, because I just went through this, okay? Thank you. All right, so we have one layer named ground. Everybody get that? Okay, right above where we just named this layer ground is a plus sign. Does everybody see that little plus sign in a square? That's so we can add another layer. So click that. And now you should have a layer 2. We're going to rename the layer 2 ball, B-A-L-L. So layer 2, rename it ball. Okay, naming your layers is really important, just like it is in Photoshop and Illustrator, to help keep you organized so that you're not editing or doing something on the wrong layer. We are going to start, well, first off, let me just kind of walk you through some of this stuff. It has some tools over here on the left side, just like it does with Photoshop and Illustrator. You have your property information over here on the right side. And then there's lots of little buttons here in the middle above your timeline. You have your play button, your rewind. You have one called onion skin, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Keyframes, and then moving within your frames. So each one of these little squares that is on your layer represents a frame. Everything is empty until you add something to the stage. I know, sounds confusing. So let's just jump right into it here. Let's click on the square on your ground layer in frame 1. Just click in, that's inside this square. Just click. This square, number 1. It's the first square. You can also zoom in and out your timeline. If your timeline is real small, right here, you can zoom in and out. We only need to see about 15 frames. So if you want to zoom it in so your squares are a little bigger, you can do that right over here with your timeline. And you can make your squares a little bit bigger. All right, so we're in frame 1 of the ground layer, we are going to come over here to our tools, and we're going to select the rectangle tool. After we select the rectangle tool, we're going to come over to the right where the fill color is, and we're going to pick a color for our ground. You can pick whatever color you want. I'm going to go with a natural kind of green color for like grass. And then you can draw it off stage, which is fine. Just draw kind of a square down here at the bottom to kind of represent the ground. Okay, check your neighbors, make sure they're good. Okay, so do you see this kind of blue square line thing that's on your timeline down here? If you click it, you can... Why is it not letting me drag it? It's your playhead. Does yours drag? Why is mine not dragging? That's embarrassing. Okay, well... Then I'll just do this. Let's just do this then. On the ground layer, click in frame 10. Why is nothing moving?
Yeah, my little marker isn't moving.
Well, that's awful. Okay. Well, my point was the ground is only located in frame 1. And if we were to go to frame 2, and I'll just do this real quick, insert a keyframe. The ground is gone because we only have it in frame 1. So what we need to do on our ground layer to make sure that our ground shows up the entire time that our ball is bouncing is we're going to go all the way to frame 15 of the ground layer. So go to frame 15. You just have to click in frame 15. Just click in frame 15. You don't need to drag, you don't need to do anything, just click in frame 15. We're going to insert a keyframe. Shortcut for inserting a keyframe is hitting F6 on your keyboard. F6 right now. F6. So that now put a solid gray bar for the ground, and now your playhead can move from 1 to 15. I'm going to clear this frame. So we have our ground from 1 to 15. So far, so good? All right. We no longer need to mess with the ground layer, so we're going to lock it. So over on the left-hand side, kind of where it says the word ground, you have an option with a little lock. Just click that lock, and it'll lock your layer. That way we know that we don't mess with it, we don't mess it up, we don't accidentally delete it, we're done with it, we're good. Okay, everybody got it locked? All right, so now let's click in the first frame of your ball layer. I need to remove this frame. Okay, first frame of our ball layer. So we are going to do exactly what we say. We're going to draw a circle that looks like a ball. So over on the left side where the rectangle tool is, we're going to go ahead and click and find the oval tool. And then you can pick your fill color, whatever fill color you want for your ball. And then at the, let me get this up here. At the top of your stage, we're just going to draw a circle about that big in frame 1. Now, if you didn't get it all the way at the top, you can click your selection tool and you can drag it and move it around to where you want. But we want it kind of at the top because we want it to fall from the top down to the bottom. Let me try that again. Okay, now on your ball layer, we're going to click frame 2. You'll notice when we click frame 2, your ball disappears, which is normal. Okay, we are now going to insert a keyframe. So hit F6 F6.
Yo, miss, what does F8 do?
I don't remember. Hang on. We're in frame 2. We inserted a keyframe. We need to turn on our onion skin. So there's these these tools that are right here above your timeline. One of them is called onion skin. Go ahead and click that. And so now in frame 2, we're going to, using our arrow, drag the ball down just a little ways. And so if you move your playhead, you can see that it's going from one to the next.
Wait, miss, the color.
Insert a keyframe, F6, and move your ball down a little more. Go to frame 4. Insert keyframe. Drag it down a little more. Yep. We're gonna keep doing this till we get close to the bottom.
What did I do? Why didn't I answer the keyframe before? Okay, I've reached the bottom.
So for me, it's about at frame 7 that I'm going to need to make a change to the ball. Again, ugh. Okay, so we're on our frame where we're ready to squash our ball. So make sure this frame is selected, and on your toolbar, right below the selection tool, you have your free transform tool. This will allow us, you want to move this white dot first down to the very bottom center. That way everything moves according to that. I'm going to just bring this down and stretch it out some to kind of give it a squashy effect. Is squashy even a word? I just made it one if it's not. Let's see what we've done so far. Now, go ahead on your keyboard and hit enter. It's going to play to the end of your ground. Now hit enter again. Now do you see a ball falling fairly quickly?
Yes.
Okay. We will slow down our frame rate soon so we can see it a little bit better. James?
It kind of messed up.
What did?
It was like really moving and disappeared.
Oh, you have empty frames here, that's why. Just remove these. You haven't made it to the ground yet. You just gotta keep going with a keyframe. Turn on your onion skin. All right, this one right here. Now you can squash it. Move that white dot down, and then you can squash your ball. All right, I'm going to move my playhead kind of back. All right, so let's slow it down. Over on the right side, you should find something that says FPS 24. Does everybody see that? Over on the right side, it says FPS 24. It also says it right up here, but you can't change it right there, but you can change it over here. FPS 24. That is the frames per second. Every frame per second. So 24 frames per second. That's really fast for what we want right now. Let's change it to like 12. Change it to 12, and we'll give that a shot. And then hit enter again, and you can kind of watch your ball fall. I think that's a little bit better pace. Yeah?
Life gets so bad.
All right. So back to frame 7. We now have our ball squished, and so now we need to bring the ball back up. Now this is going to be fairly easy because we've already got all of the balls in the position that we want in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 frames. So I'm going to go to frame 6.
I'm on that.
I'm going to right click and copy that frame. And then I'm going to go to my next available frame, frame 8, and I'm going to paste the frame. So now you're just going to kind of work it backwards to make the ball go back up.
So do I do frame 5?
Yeah, if you're on a different frame than I am, then you would do whichever
Okay, so frame 7, right?
whichever frame is your squashy frame. Go to the one before that.
Just copy. All that's gonna do is copy. That's a copy.
Oh, wait. What's your name? Alright, so I go to frame 6, right? What if I copy this?
You copy the frame. Right click, copy frame. That way you're getting them placed back right in the exact same place.
Copy frame.
Dude, why does that one get so big and everything else?
Did you get that?
Press that song.
Insert frame.
With the sprinkles, like, what about like, see, I did the same thing.
Yes, I will. Okay. I'm just going to check and make sure. There we go. So mine is bouncing and going back up.
Hey, that looks pretty good. Look at that. Boom.
And then if your ground doesn't line up, we'll fix that in just a minute. Okay. Also, over where we change the frames per rate, your stage color is currently white. You can change that if you want to.
How would you do that?
I'm going to make it a cloudy day. So it's just where your stage is over here. Click that white square. You can change it. All right, so the next thing to do is to see if your ground layer needs to be the same length as your ball. So for me, my ground is a little bit longer. What about y'all?
Yeah, mine's like
Longer?
4.
Okay, so unlock your ground layer. And you go to whatever the last frame is in your ground layer and you click on it once. And then I'm going to click and hold and drag it to wherever the end is. Now, why did it stay there? Maybe the easiest thing to do is to select the frames that you don't need, right click and remove the frames. That might be easier too. Where's the remove frame? There we go. That way my ground and ball end at the same time. So I'm going to click play. And let me see, where do they...
Oh, yeah. Did you see it?
All right, so if you want to see it play like this, do Control Enter on your keyboard. Control Enter, it creates, it kind of shows you what it will look like if this was published. Control Enter. And it should just be your bouncing ball continuously bouncing. Yes? Control Enter. That is what you do to test it. That is to test it. You can also, on your toolbar, when you're done with it, you just close that little tab and go back to your animate. You can go up to control on your controls up here and go to play as well. All right, now I'm I'm nervous about having y'all save it because we're going to try to save it in just a minute. Don't save it yet because mine always pops up with an error and then it closes out of it. So I want us to export the movie first so you can turn this in. So we're going to go up to File. This is if you're done and ready. Go to File. Alex. Go to Export. File, Export, and then Movie. File, Export, Movie. For now, save it. We're going to put it on your desktop. Don't click Save yet because you got to change the file type. Put it on your desktop. We're going to give the name Bouncing Ball. And then your Save As type, it's important to make sure you change it to an SWF movie. SWF movie. Change the Save As type. If you do the JPEG, you're going to get images of every single frame. And that's annoying. And you're not turning that in. SWF movie on your desktop, Bouncing Ball, save it. All right. Your ground is too high. Your ground is floating in the air. All right, so now let's see what happens when you try and save it. So do a file save. Do you get an error message?
Save? Oh, it gives me file save. And then
Oh, y'all are able to save. Okay, good. So file save it to your desktop. See, I get this unknown error quitting application. I can't save any of my stuff right now.
I'm gonna save as or save.
Save, we haven't saved it yet. All right, let me see how those, oh, I'm sorry, is this still your screen? And, okay. So there's that. Let me check how these turn in. Oh, your ball's going a little short, isn't it?
I gotta restart this whole thing.
You just have to, you can insert a few frames. Oh man, it's not going to show it. I wonder if turning in the animate file works better. Yes. You're just not done. Oh, that's the wrong one. So this one, you just got to find where they match up with. So this one is this one. So now you need this one. Copy this one. Paste that one. Make sure that they're going from one to the next. You just check it and make sure. So you're doing okay, but now you need the one that's after this one. So that after this one. So it's this one. This is your next one that you're going to put right there. Alex, you saved yours, right? I'm gonna see if the flash file works better. I'm gonna turn yours in. Wait, where'd you save your flash file? Not this one. Where'd you save the other one? Oh, you didn't. I want to see if this works better. I don't want to have to download everybody's stuff. Okay.